journalist industrial complex love to, pair her with Mikie Sherrill up in New Jersey and be like, this is the future of the Democratic Party.
These are just moderate women.
Look, they were in intelligence.
Yeah.
These are serious people.
Yeah.
These are not lunatics.
Stopping the ability of ICE to be able to deport terrorists.
And who would have thunk it? That maybe places where people don't enforce the law are magnets for people who want to break the law.
Weird.
Huh.
They're like, we want to disarm Americans, we want to empower illegals.
Yes.
And we want to make elections as corrupt as possible.
Washington politicians are always getting in your wallet. Now they're messing with your credit card. Your credit card and the security it offers are under attack. The Durbin-Marshall credit card bill would change the nation's payment system to benefit corporate megastores like Walmart and Target at the expense of everyday Americans. Credit cards keep your payments secure and provide rewards that families use to help make everyday purchases more affordable. The Durbin-Marshall mandates would let corporate megastores cut corners on credit card processing, routing transactions over cheaper, untested networks with weaker security and fewer protections. That means higher risk of fraud, greater chance of stolen personal data, and the loss of rewards programs, just so corporate megastores can pocket billions of dollars in higher profits. Tell Congress to guard your card. Visit guardyourcard.com to take action and learn more.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
Keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs.
It's time for our main event.
Good Thursday to you. Welcome back to the Ruthless Friday program. We got an awful lot to get to. There's a lot of news being made at home and abroad, and a lot of yucks to have. I'm Josh Holmes, along with Comfortably Smug, Michael Duncan, and John Ashbrook, left to right across your radio dial. As always, we've got a couple of big interviews for people. Tom Homan. Everybody's wanted a little piece of Tom Homan. Of course, I mean, his stuff seems to be always the thing that's in the news. So we might as well go right to the source, and Smash does just that. We also hear from the Agriculture Secretary, Brooke Rollins. So a administration-heavy episode, but we've got some other things to talk about. And, look, we're coming into the midterms. We've all noticed these candidate announcements and whatnot, and it's our commitment to you, the listener, that we're going to have a whole bunch of candidates on here before we get to primary season, so you can all hear from everybody and figure out who you want to support based on how they do on the Ruthless Variety program. I mean, that seems like a bare minimum that we should be able to accomplish.
Great idea.
So we're going to do an awful lot of that, but I think what is missing from the conversation is this larger argument that, of course, your corporate media is just going to skim through and not pay any attention to whatsoever. It's always like, oh, what's the Trump approval rating? What's the generic ballot? You hear a lot of talk about the generic ballot. Well, there is no such thing as a generic ballot at the election booth. There's a choice between candidates. And one of the things that's occurred to me based upon what's happened here this week is the conversation that needs to happen based upon where Republicans are governing, what they're doing. They're securing the border. They're lowering your taxes. They're trying to keep your communities safe. You can make an argument about whether you agree or disagree with tactics and all of those things. But basically what they're saying they're going to do in the context of a campaign is what they did. I mean, this is why President Trump was elected. He went to camera. His vice president went to camera and said, here are the things that we're going to do. And then over the last year, and you saw the full year in review press conference that Trump did and everything, it's that. Mm-hmm. They did that. Contrast that with where the Democrats are. Now, all of us, by virtue of our new affiliation with Fox News, have done an awful lot of commentary on the channel and on this show about what is the Democratic Party today. And we've been pretty clear that it's quite obvious to us, having worked in this line of work for a long time, where the pressure points are. And Democrats are entirely a downstream effect of the Mamdani vision. That's where the base of the Democratic Party is. It's the only thing that they're responsive to. You look at Chuck Schumer running for his life. This is supposed to be the guy that's headed the institution that presses pause on all these like base instincts, shuts down the government for a record amount of time in order to save his. That's the only thing they care about, right? But they never talk that way.
Well, and the reason why they don't is because that is not actual governing coalition in the United States of America.
Yeah.
It's a small, loud minority of the Democratic Party, but it does govern the way that they operate.
It does. And so every once in a while, you get a little vignette somewhere in the country that provides an overview of what it is that we're saying. You can take our word for it, and I hope you do. But then there are confirmations along the way of what it is that we're saying. Enter Abigail Spanberger, the new governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Of course, she replaces Glenn Youngkin, good friend of the program, who I think ran a very moderate governing coalition in a very purple state. Didn't get to do everything he wanted to do because he had a Democratic legislature, but he certainly held the line from a lot of crazy shit. And here comes along Abigail Spanberger. And I remember doing all these interviews on Fox and elsewhere where you'd have Democratic pundits where I'd say, like, look, Mondani's the thing. This is the guy and the vision that embodies what the Democratic Party is trying to accomplish. That's the governing vision that they want to do. And the pushback that I got 10 times out of 10 was like, no. No, this is not Mamdani. It's very specific, very urban area, much more progressive than the rest of the country. Our vision and our new face of the Democratic Party are people like Abigail Spanberger. Abigail Spanberger perfectly encapsulates the moderate family vision for what the Democratic Party is today.
And the Democrat journalist industrial complex love to pair her with Mikie Sherrill up in New Jersey and be like, this is the future of the Democratic Party.
These are just moderate women.
Look, they were in intelligence.
Yeah.
These are serious people.
Yeah.
These are not lunatics.
Well, and she's such a moderate. I mean, she'll tell you herself. Let's go to clip 1. She'll talk about it.
Unlike some of her more liberal colleagues,
What a
she
hilarious
considers herself
interview.
moderate
This
through
is
what she
Politico.
calls, quote, passionate pragmatism.
I can disagree with people on 100 things, and that 101st thing we agree on is a good place to start that conversation.
We're going to start on everything we agree with.
And that's the thing is this was all part of the plan. And if you look across, Minneapolis is a great example. Who are the first line, like the frontline troops you see attacking ICE, going ham? It's not Somalians. It's not the illegal immigrants themselves. It's a bunch of these like middle-aged white ladies who are essentially just like shock troops of the ideology of Mamdani. And we're seeing more and more. Abigail Spanberger, same thing you're seeing.
So, but to your point, they don't market themselves that way. And I think this is an important refrain that you'll hear from the Ruthless Friday program until next November, which is how these people market themselves versus what they do. How is it that Abigail Spanberger wins a gubernatorial race when she's following a Glenn Youngkin, Republican, obvious conservative governance in a state like Virginia? Well, here's an ad, clip 1A.
I'm Abigail Spanberger. I grew up walking the halls of Tucker High School. After 9/11, I walked the halls of CIA as a case officer working counterterrorism. And then I walked the halls of Congress, where despite the dysfunction, I got things done and was named the most bipartisan member of Congress from Virginia. As
Most
governor, I'll work to
bipartisan.
lower costs
Lower
and make
costs.
sure our schools prepare all our kids for jobs of the future.
Spanberger for governor. Service. Country. Commonwealth.
Okay, so what that is like if you're concerned about weird tranny ideology in your school, she's got something for you. If you're concerned about leftist ideology, she's the most bipartisan.
Most bipartisan.
She wants to lower costs because, heaven forbid, she looks back at her voting record with the Inflation Reduction Act and everything else that brought you the higher cost. She wants to speak to
Well,
that.
she got stuff done in Congress.
Well, she got stuff done. She got stuff done. She's a real middle-of-the-road, thoughtful, pragmatic.
And that's the thing is
Democrat.
every single sentence in that ad was her trying to express, I'm a moderate, I'm a moderate, I'm a moderate.
Exactly, right? I mean, the message is very, very clear. So what's her first act as governor of Virginia? Clip 2.
Spanberger didn't wait long to get to work following her swearing-in ceremony, signing 10 executive orders. The one getting the most attention rescinds a Youngkin administration order that required and encouraged state and local law enforcement agencies to work with ICE on enforcing immigration laws. Governor Youngkin issued the order last February, saying, quote, Virginia is not a sanctuary state.
Okay, like to make your first order of business, excuse me, to oppose ICE, to support illegal aliens who we've seen across this country committing horrific crimes, human trafficking, murders, rapes, all the worst things you can think of. For your first act of governor to be like, I am on the side of illegal immigrants, that's not very moderate.
It's not. It's even worse than I oppose ICE. It's that I've instructed our law enforcement in the state not to cooperate.
This can't be true because she told us to camera she was going to get started on all the stuff we agree about.
Well, not only that, Michael, but she was a CIA case officer. This person understands law and order, evidently. Well, not the case. So Brett Baer picks up on this on Fox News, and he does a little vignette on all the things that she and her allies in the Democratic legislature want to have accomplished for the people of Virginia next year. Clip 2A.
That's the new governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Abigail Spanberger, ran for that office as a moderate. But the executive order that she talked about is state and local police not cooperating with ICE to get criminal illegal immigrants. There's also a list of now the Democrats control the legislature, that a number of bills that have been put forward. You can't read it here, but let me just go through it. Sales tax on Uber Eats, Amazon, sales tax on admissions to a variety of businesses, create 2 new higher tax brackets, 10% tax bracket for anyone making over $1 million, 3.8 investment tax, raise the hotel tax, new personal property tax on landscaping equipment, ban gas-powered leaf blowers, guarantee illegal aliens free education, make it illegal to approach somebody at an abortion clinic, extend the time absentee ballots can be received after Election Day, allow people to cast their votes electronically through the internet, expand ranked choice voting, extend the deadline for ballot curing, redact the addresses of political candidates from FOIAs, add Virginia to the National Popular Vote Compact, make it illegal to hand count ballots, $500 sales tax on firearm suppressors, assault weapons in large capacity magazine ban, 11% sales tax on all firearms and ammunition, prohibit outdoor shooting of a firearm less than 5 acres, lower the criminal penalties for robbery, ban the arrest of illegal aliens in courthouses, remove mandatory minimum sentences, allow localities to install speed cameras, and replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day.
Can I just say, it's for all this like hand-wringing that Democrats tried having a couple of years ago, because it feels like they've kind of stopped trying to defend it. The whole thing of when they were accused of, you want to bring in illegal aliens and you want to let them vote, and that's how you guys want to win elections. They've pretty much stopped trying to even answer those accusations. When her first acts are, ICE, our law enforcement is going to cooperate with you. We're going to like make voting as wide open. Ballots after Election Day. Hand counting ballots is illegal.
Voting on the internet? Did I read?
That's exactly what he said. Like, all of this, weaken election laws and make it easier for illegal aliens to operate in Virginia. Those are the first orders of business.
Well, super brazen, additionally, like on top of the ICE thing aside, you can't arrest an illegal immigrant at a courthouse. At the House of Law, you can't arrest someone for violating the law.
What if they're convicted?
No, you can't.
This is a House of Law. We don't allow laws in here.
You know, I've been listening to you guys lay out this case very astutely, I might add, and I've thought to myself, where have I heard this before? Because it all sounds very familiar to me. And then I remembered 2020.
Yes.
When every single Democrat and every single member of the mainstream media assured us that Joe Biden would deliver a return to normalcy.
Yes.
This is a moderate man who is going to bring Washington back to its senses. And then the guy is sworn into office and he opens the border to every terrorist who can make it across on a boat. Democrats will do this time and time again. And if you're tricked by them a third time, who's the idiot?
A caretaker, they say.
Exactly.
Respected around the world, they claimed.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, so look.
Turn America to its place. I mean, it's all insane. Like they do this sales pitch every time. And then you got all these moderate voters out there who fall for it.
Yep. That's the thing is they have to, the radical left expresses such a minority view among Americans, right? that they have to dupe voters. That's their whole game plan. We saw that Abigail Spanberger ad. You're like, okay, every line is about her telling me she's a moderate. Okay, she's a moderate. And as soon as she's in, it's like literally like the Mamdani wish list. Mm-hmm. Everything he would want for New York City,
right?
She wants in place now for the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Yeah, and everything she's talking about with illegal immigrants is stopping the ability of ICE to be able to deport terrorists. We talked to Tom Homan about this very specific issue. He said that they're still working on it and they'll still get around all of her efforts to stop them, but it makes it more difficult.
But so look, there is but one in John Fetterman, elected Democrat that I'm aware of, where there is a dime worth of difference between Mayor Mamdani and their willingness to execute the furthest left reach of public policy in America. There's not anybody who, they'll tell you, oh no, I'm reach consent, I'll work across party lines. We don't want to be crazy about anything. This is about representing people until they have the governing power to do so. And then you get the Communist Manifesto banning gas-powered leaf blowers. I didn't know that was a thing.
And did you notice how many of those laws were directed at limiting the Second Amendment?
Yeah.
Taxing the hell out of it.
A third of them were about the Second Amendment alone.
They're like, we want to disarm Americans, we want to empower illegals,
yes,
and we want to make elections as corrupt as possible.
Can you imagine the Star Wars bar list of industry groups that had to come into the governor's mansion to make that list? Some of the biggest fucking losers in America.
Degenerates. Absolute degenerates. But, look, we started this and you brought up that it was not just Abigail Spanberger, that it wasn't Mamdani, it's Abigail Spanberger, but it's also Mikie Sherrill. Mm-hmm. Another voice of moderation, another, rock solid center of the road, just representing her constituency point of view. Clip 3, please. What did she in her first week do?
And yes, he has kept among us in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. And this election proved that the people of New Jersey recognize the parallels. That we see a president illegally usurping power, unconstitutionally enacting a tariff regime to make billions for himself and his family.
She's straight up comparing President Trump to King George, being like, that's sedition. She is straight up calling to break away. I think he should give her wish and send a standing army. He should remove her from office, charge her with sedition. All of these people. Tim Walz is the same. All these people who are essentially being like, this government is illegal. The one who won the popular vote, by the way, not just the electoral.
I think Trump should embrace it. The King George comparison. I'd say this isn't about taxation without representation. It's about deportation without hesitation.
It's good.
I'd buy that shirt.
It's good. But look, the larger point remains. You're going to hear a lot of talk in a midterm where the odds are heavily weighed on the Democratic side. But they can't get elected in places like Minnesota or Michigan or Kentucky and even Maine or North Carolina or Georgia by saying what it is that they intend to do. But make no mistake, that's what they intend to do. If the people that they held out as the most moderate amongst them, and they almost expressed hesitation, by the way. It was like, well, it's a purple state. This is as good as we can do from a liberal perspective. Yeah, I understand they're not Mamdani, but it's as good as we can get as Democrats and still win.
Right.
And then they turn around and they show up with banning your leaf blower, letting all the immigrants free, legal immigrants free, and taxing the shit out of every single thing.
Right. Well, and it makes me understand why so many people in the Republican base, feel disappointed in the Republican Party. Because it's like, if you're a liberal Democrat, what you end up with is always better than you could ever hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on our side,
well,
it
you've
feels
been
like
sold that you're not going to get there.
You can't get
and they're
everything.
Like, no, we're going to get all of it.
We're going to get all of it. You know, with Republicans, you're always trying to hope that they live up to the promises of the campaign.
You're right.
Not that they're going to do more than that.
Yeah.
They
promise nothing and then deliver the Communist Manifesto.
Right.
I just want to mention one other item from her list of horribles. We talked about the leaf blowers and the illegals and everything. But did you see the one where she's going to tax investments?
Yeah.
And so what she wants you to think is, oh, we're going to go after the hedge funds.
Yeah.
What that means is that if you've been saving for college just so that your kids can have a chance to get ahead, she's coming in to take that money too.
Yeah.
You need to understand
That's
that
what that
Democrats will stop at nothing to bankrupt you.
And that's the thing is like they tried to. This is asset confiscation.
That's what it is.
This is just stealing from Americans.
You've already
straight
paid
up.
taxes on money.
And that's the
You're
thing.
saving money to try to like pay tuition that's way too expensive.
And the fact that they're not trying to do this as like a income tax is because they want to be open to their left-wing communist base. Let them know, no, we want to confiscate assets. They did it under the guise in California of like, this is just a billionaire tax because that's how it always starts. Notice that like Bernie doesn't go after the millionaires anymore because he is a millionaire.
Yeah,
now,
right.
You know, and I mean,
also
Ilhan Omar's a millionaire. They can't say we're going after the millionaires anymore. They have to trick you and be like, no, we're going after the billionaires. Now in Virginia, they're like, we're just going to straight up confiscate assets. Doesn't matter if you're a millionaire, billionaire, anybody. We're just going to take your shit now.
It's all part of the ruse. I mean, remember what the whole argument was for Tim Walz. He's a middle of the road, sounds like one of us.
Yeah.
He's a moderate. Remember, he was a moderate. They tried to frame him as a moderate. Now, in the course of the campaign, they did a great job of explaining to people that this guy was putting tampons in high school men's bathrooms.
But Democrats put a different image forward. Look at his camo hat. The guy coached football.
Yeah,
He's one of you.
He's going to run a pick six.
Right.
He's going to run a pick six. Yeah, no, but that's like what they're trying to do. It's absolutely no different than what they're trying to do in California and the standard bearer out there in Swalwell. Clip 4.
They're going to lose their immunity.
He's talking about
They're
ICE.
not going to be able to drive. I will take your driver's license. Good luck walking to work, assholes. Also, I will direct law enforcement to use every power to prosecute them for battery, false imprisonment, and murder.
Oh,
He's talking about ICE.
Yeah.
Insane.
So, driver's license for illegal immigrants.
Yes.
That's fine.
We're good with that.
Driver's licenses for law enforcement.
For federal law enforcement.
No. Awesome.
And prosecution
It's
for
like
them.
like if you live in California, you live in the upside down. It's incredible.
Like, I don't understand. You don't need a partisan argument. Like, that's what he's for. There are existing laws on the books of what constitutes something that's illegal and something's illegal. What he wants you to think is that we prosecute things that are legal and we don't prosecute things that are illegal. And my entirety of my approach to this is throwing law enforcement in prison or taking their driver's license or otherwise harming them in some way for enforcing federal statutes that I, as a congressman, have presided over for 10 years and done nothing about. Right? There's never been a democratic effort to decriminalize on a federal level entering this country illegally. I wonder why. It's because they don't want that hanging over their head. Nobody agrees with that. So they don't talk about it. But when they're in charge, they'll do something about it.
Bingo.
The laws don't matter. Like, nothing matters. It's all about just selling you, the voter, some kind of a puppy dogs and apple pie in order to give them the power that they have. So they'll just like break the law and do whatever they look at Minnesota. Look what's happening. That is the vision for the entirety of the Democratic slate in these midterms. And I just need you to think through that because most of you who are listening, you're like, yeah, I got it. We already know that. Well, your neighbors don't.
Your neighbors don't.
They don't. And you got to figure out a way to talk to them about that, all of that.
And now.
So, listen, we're going to get Tom Homan in our question of the day that pertains to exactly this very point. But I do have to remind all of you, we're going to do a live show. It's going to be in Philadelphia. And it's celebrating this great country of ours in America 250. We're kicking it off in January because we want to do 12 full months of this bad boy. And is going to be on January 29th. The doors open at 6 p.m. downtown Philadelphia. When you RSVP, they'll give you the site. And remember, food and beverage are included in all of this.
I mean, that's the total package. We're going to sing and dance. You get food and drink.
It's free. It's free, folks. A free show from the Ruthless Friday.
Got to make sure we pack our Z-Biotics.
100.
You know that.
100. So if you go to a250philly.com/ruthless, you can get your ticket and you'll get the venue location. January 29th, doors open at 6, and it's brought to you in partnership with our good friends at America for Prosperity. And I'll just say, like, I'm super pumped about this. It's our first live show in a long time. And this is going to be a banger. So, coming up, we've got Tom Homan, and then we'll give you a question of the day. We're going to play some games. We're going to do a lot of stuff here today. Right after this.
In America, parents call the shots for their families, not bureaucrats. But the so-called App Store Accountability Act puts your child at risk. This bill requires app stores to collect children's sensitive personal data while taking away power from parents over how their child's data is handled by tech companies. Parents should get to decide if their child's age is shared with apps, not politicians. Parents should attest to their kids' ages, not turn over birth certificates to tech companies. Congress, don't put kids at greater risk online and box parents out of making decisions for their families. Tell your lawmaker to put parents first. There are better ways to keep kids safe. NetChoice is dedicated to making the internet safe for free expression and free enterprise. Learn more at netchoice.org/keep app stores safe.
I want to welcome to the Ruthless Variety Program a man who needs no introduction, but he is our border czar, Tom Homan. Mr. Homan, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I want to start our interview with a little bit of a higher level question, because you have such a long career in law enforcement and border enforcement. You've been decorated by multiple administrations, including the Obama administration, and you've seen it all. And I just wonder, there seems to have been a shift in this country where 10, 20 years ago, the news media was writing about ICE and saying, oh, look at the law enforcement they're carrying out. They're writing about border. Democrats are talking about border security like it's a problem that needs to be solved. And at some point in the last 10 or 20 years, all of that shifted and it became such a partisan issue. I wonder if you, just thinking back, if you noticed something from the inside, from a professional's perspective, when that actually started to turn, because it's very upsetting to a lot of Americans who are concerned with safety.
I think it started under the first Trump administration. As you said earlier, President Obama awarded me the Presidential Rank Award, which is the highest award available, because I deported over 400,000 people. Everybody thought that was great. Now, the second 4 years of Obama administration, we did a complete opposite. We pretty much got shut down. I think after he got the deporter-in-chief nickname, they started shutting us down. But President Trump came in and said, no, we're going to enforce the law. We're going to enforce the laws on the books without apology. I think the rhetoric is really hateful now because the American public is used to 4 years of no immigration enforcement. Open border, millions of people walking across the border, and ICE, they weren't arresting anybody, hardly. ICE was told you can't arrest somebody for simply being in the country illegally. They got to be convicted of a serious crime before you can even target them for arrest. So now that President Trump's back and ICE is doing the same thing they've done for 40 years, people are shocked. And plus, I think a lot of it has to do, it's all politics. They hate Trump. They don't want to give Trump a win. Well, he's winning every day. We got the most secure border in history of the nation. They don't like that because we're proving every day that the last administration lied to the American people. I also think the politicians are angry because we're ruining their plans. Their plans were to bring millions of people in the country, hoping they'd be future Democratic voters. Remember, Biden also overturned the Trump census rule, which millions of people will be counted in the next census, which will result in more seats in the House for the Dems. We're slowly tearing down their long-term strategy, and they're upset about it. But a lot has to do, they simply hate Trump. They hate Trump more than they care about the safety of their community.
And obviously, a lot of their politicians on the left are working to try to slow down the law enforcement. Everybody's familiar with the governor of Minnesota, but the governor of Virginia, brand new Democrat, just sworn into office, one of her first actions was to say that, no, we are not going to cooperate with ICE. We're not going to cooperate with federal officials in their mission to try to keep America safe and deport these criminals who are over here. And I just wonder if there's a way, I'm sure you're familiar with what Virginia's doing.
Well, look, I am a resident of Virginia, and Spanberger. I remember campaign ads. I'm a law enforcement officer. I've rescued children from sex trafficking. I've seen the commercials. So the first day in office, she stopped being a law enforcement officer and became a politician. Because where's all those commercials you did about wanting to support law enforcement and rescuing kids? What ICE is doing right now, first of all, this administration, we already found 130,000 of those missing kids that the last administration wasn't even looking for. Many of these children were victims of sex trafficking and forced labor. We're tearing apart these trafficking rings. We're looking for these missing children. We're arresting criminal aliens, many of them, like just the last 2 weeks of Minnesota, a lot of them were sexual predators of children, child rape. Where is she gone? Right. I mean, she's a different person than what she ran on, just a different person. Look, I respect her service to this nation. I think she forgot it, though, real quickly when she became governor. I hope we can work together, but it doesn't look good.
Well, so if you're a resident of Virginia, you're also a resident of the United States, and you're hoping that your federal government will keep you safe from illegal alien criminals. Are there ways that you can work around her intransigence? I mean, are there strategies that you can
we're working around we're working around that in New York and, California and Oregon and Illinois. These states are not friendly. They won't work with ICE. So it just means we got to send more resources to those states because it makes their job harder. If they work with us, I mean, one agent can arrest one illegal alien in a county jail. We just give us access to the person that you locked in a jail cell, and they're in the country illegally. When you're done, they're giving us. That's the most efficient way to do it. But when you're knowingly going to release public safety threats in the community, now we got to send the whole team out looking for them. I said it from day one. The thousands of agents we're bringing on, we're going to flood sanctuary cities. We have to. Because you created a problem where you're releasing public safety threats in the street. We know we got a problem there. Yeah. We know that rather than one agent arresting one bad guy, now we got to send the whole team out looking for a lot of guys. Yeah. So, unfortunately, they set the stage, and we're going to do what we got to do. They're not going to stop us. They can stand on the sidelines and watch. Yeah. Shame on them. But they're not going to stop us from doing this mission.
So the sanctuary cities obviously exist. Everybody knows where they are, including the bad guys. And one of the pictures that people saw during the Biden administration that was so concerning were thousands of military-age men from the other hemisphere crossing over our southern border, and who knows where in this country. Is it possible that some of these bad guys see the sanctuary cities as a rendezvous point where they can reform terror cells inside of this country?
Absolutely. They know they're protected. Even though in the country illegally, they know even if they commit a crime in that city, no one's calling ICE. No, it's that's why these sanctuary cities, look, that's by design. They knew that most of these illegal aliens go to sanctuary cities. And again, get back to the census. Sanctuary cities are run by Democrats, Democratic neighborhood, right? So it'll result in more seats in the House for the Dems. This is about, they sold this nation out. They sold our national security out for future political power. But look, we know we got, just under Joe Biden, 2.1 million known gotaways. 2.1 million people paid more to the cartel to get away. You pay one amount, get to the border, see a green uniform, turn yourself in. You get released within 24 hours. You get a free airline ticket to the city of your choice. You get a free hotel room. You get 3 meals a day. You get free medical care. In about 90, 120 days, we're going to give you a work authorization. Why did 2.1 million people pay more not to take advantage of that giveaway program? Well, it's simple. They didn't want to be vetted. They didn't want to be fingerprinted. God help us. I'm grateful President Trump's in the Oval Office because, there's certainly people from terrorist-sponsored countries here planning some sort of dirty deed, but the FBI's already arrested a lot of them. You got Tulsi Gabbard and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, and we got a lot of great people working on this from an intelligence perspective, but they put us in a really bad position. Our national security's at risk. But I know when President Trump secured that border, secure border means you got stronger national security. Because of what ICE is doing, we got stronger national security. So we got to try to stay one step ahead of them.
So you think it's fair to say that sanctuary cities are the most dangerous cities to live in our country?
Absolutely, yes.
And I know you guys are working overtime to deport the criminals, deport people, but I remember the statistic from the Obama era that he deported 3 million people during his 8 years in office. Do you think President Trump will eclipse that number if you count all 8 of his years?
Even though sanctuary cities are standing in the way, we're going to do as much as we can. There are more sanctuary cities now than ever, and they just make it less efficient. Like I said a minute ago, during the Obama administration, we had less sanctuary cities. We had administration willing to get us into the jail, honor our detainers, and now operations are much less efficient, but we have more resources. Plus, we got a record number of 287G programs now, so we'll overcome this. But it's unfortunate because it makes the community less safe when you release public safety threats in the community. It makes it certainly less safe for our agents. And on top of that, you got, for instance, Minnesota, they've been empowered to go out there and interfere and impede ICE, make the job more difficult. Think about that. You got a U.S. citizen protester. I don't think they know what the hell they're protesting. If you ask them, I think a lot of them are paid.
Yeah.
You are standing between this arrest team and they're targeting a child rapist, and you want to impede them, interfere them? Go to the website and look how many criminal aliens and child sex predators have been taken on the street. It's incredible. If you want to protest what ICE is doing, then protest Capitol Hill. So we're enforcing laws that they enacted. We're not making this stuff up. If we don't like the immigration law, go protest Congress. Don't protest the men and women who put their lives on the line for this country. They try to make their community safer.
Well, Mr. Homan, thanks for everything you're doing, keeping us all safe. Really wish you the best of luck and appreciate you being on the Ruthless
You got it,
show.
man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Fellas, I think it's always interesting to talk to an issue area expert, and this happens to be a guy who's worked in law enforcement since the early 80s, and what he has to say about sanctuary cities and, acknowledge that they could be a possible rendezvous point for terrorists who entered the country during Joe Biden's administration. He talked about sanctuary cities as the most dangerous places to live in America. He talked about Virginia. Very special opportunity to have Homan on the show.
I mean, people forget he was there during Obama.
Obama put a medal around his neck.
Yep. Yeah. And who would have thunk it? That maybe places where people don't enforce the law are magnets for people who want to break the law.
Weird.
Huh?
Strange.
It is strange.
Strange. You mean it's not just the waitress that's in jeopardy here? That there's Tajikistan terrorists?
He's fighting age Uzbek.
That's
fighting age Uzbeks.
One other thing I want to point out about that interview, I don't know if you guys noticed, but we were set up knee to knee.
Yeah,
yes.
And we always promised everybody in the audience that we'd never do that to you.
Which is why you did it.
Come up with a more creative way to do it. And the camera guy, I won't say his name because he is a professional who's been in the business for a very long time. He was like, John, let me give you a better shot than this. I have something with a little more creativity than just the knee to knee. I was like, no. I want to do knee to knee simply so that my friends can laugh at me.
Well, I mean, I thought it was natural because Ashbrook has always wanted to be a journo.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. The only knee to knee you'll see here on the program is from our friend, the journo.
Yeah, exactly.
The master of the knee to knee. So that leads to our question of the day up from the first segment, which is, what is the best way to help voters understand there's no such thing as a moderate Democrat?
Yep.
You guys have to give us ideas on this. I mean, look, we'll keep beating the drum, and if everybody listened to the Ruthless Variety program, I don't think we'd have this problem.
Can I be honest? I think this is the most important question that Republicans should be thinking about right now, and now is the time to find the answer to this and get it out there. Now's the time.
If you answer these questions, you will reverse history and win the midterms.
That's it.
That's just a bottom line. Because if an election at this point is not a referendum against the unknown, but a choice between what it is that you've got and the list that we read that Brett Baer read out, I think I know where we're coming down on that.
Yep.
Right? So it's up to us, all of us, and those of you listening care about the direction of your country, to try to explain to people who might be confused about all of this. Mm-hmm. They don't like tone, or they don't like Greenland. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But the option here is a crazy place in a country that will be unrecognizable as a result of these people getting elected. So that's our question of the day. When you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Variety program, we read all of your comments, and we're going to learn a lot from all that. So remember, like, subscribe, give us your comment. We'll read it and get back to the very next episode on Fun Team Frady. So when we come back, we're going to get to your comments from last episode from, it was about Don Lemon. What a piece of work. We asked what should be the consequences for Don Lemon after he stormed the church with a bunch of left-wingers. I feel like he's getting into the soup now, but you have your ideas right after this. Okay, so when you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Friday program and leave your answers for the question of the day, we read them all. And this question was, what should be the consequences for Don Lemon after he, figured out how to storm a church with a bunch of psycho activists? To do that, we always start with the voice.
Okay, first one comes from Lori Vaught, or Vote. She writes, Don Lemon, or Lemon, should be placed in solitary confinement, and Donald Trump's rally speeches should be played loudly on loop.
I think we got a winner.
Oh, that's really...
I mean, that's
Very
exactly
funny.
right.
Lori, that is inspired.
I'm envisioning that scene from Clockwork Orange where they open the guy's eyes.
He's like, no! All right, Hurunks, what do you got in comment two?
This is from Tina Moreno. Tina writes, make Don Lemon sit through an entire 3 year of 3-hour sermons in the front pew. No phone, no mic, no exit. Just pure, uninterrupted conviction.
Maybe he'll learn something.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's a Christian. He explained to the pastor.
Yeah.
That was one of the most infuriating lines.
It
It's
was.
like, okay, you're going to tell this pastor.
That would be great if a judge gave him community service, but community service was...
At church.
Yeah, first pew.
Oh, it would be fantastic. All right, comment three, Smug.
Comment three is from Alvin Sell. Alvin writes, what do I think should happen to mobs who invade churches? I'd like to see a reenactment of the scene from A Bronx Tale where someone locks the door and says, now yous can't leave.
It's a great scene.
That is a good scene.
One of my absolute favorites.
Yeah.
That's so good. All right, so great comments there. Next, we're coming up on a lightning round. There's a lot to get through. The president's abroad at Davos. We're going to do a quick recap on that. Some news and information and some yucks that I think you can use right after this.
20 days, one historic move, and an unbelievable journey. Melania from Amazon MGM Studios captures the one-of-a-kind transition into the White House, showcasing the planning, pressure, and personal moments that come with stepping into the role of the First Lady for a second time. From logistical complexities to decisions made behind closed doors, the film brings you closer to Mrs. Trump and her family as they return to the nation's capital. See what history looks like before the doors officially open. Melania arrives in theaters exclusively on January 30th, 2026.
Okay, so it's worth noting at the front, you've probably all seen the coverage of Trump abroad at the Davos douchebag summit that annually happens where a bunch of people sniff their own farts and tell everybody else how smart they are. Trump drops in and he just owns the joint, which is just a very predictable deal. But going into it, he previewed a whole bunch of things about Greenland. And like the American people were like, we did the Venezuela thing. Like, we understand, we're kind of with you on the Greenland thing, but like, what's going on with all this? Threaten big tariffs on Europe or whatever else. He's there for like 4 hours. And all of a sudden you get the NATO Secretary General who's like, hey, let's work out the thing on Greenland. Well, Trump announces, I think we worked the thing out on Greenland. Details to come, but like, I mean,
making moves, man.
I know, right?
Fast.
So, it is what it is. This whole thing starts with Macron of France giving his full presentation. This is before President Trump arrived, and he's got these sunglasses on. Everybody's like, what's up with that? Apparently an eye procedure or something. It wasn't really fully disclosed. There's a lot of speculation about that. Well, President Trump was amongst those speculating on this. Clip 7.
Emmanuel Macron, I watched him yesterday with those beautiful sunglasses. What the hell happened?
I mean, that's happening at Davos.
Yeah.
So put up the graphic one. This is what he looked like. I mean, it was like he was trying to do a Top Gun thing as a leader.
Who does this guy think he is?
You got to explain it before you show up.
I mean, who does he think he is?
He thinks he's smug.
That's what he is. He's trying to do that, and I appreciate President Trump holding him accountable on that.
I will say, so I was on Tuesday night right after this on Brett Bear, and one of the producers said to me, Josh, I noticed you were noticeably quiet about Macron and somebody being affiliated with you wearing sunglasses all the time.
And that's the thing is, like, there's only one person who wears a number 23 jersey. George. Who does Macron think he is?
Who is he trying to steal your bit?
Hilarious.
And he's not even blind.
And Trump going in on that was perfect. Yeah. Dude, at Davos, they're all laughing at Macron. Think about that.
That's funny. Yeah. I bet that's got to be humiliating for him.
I mean, the French are used to that kind of thing, I'd imagine.
You can't love that, especially after the texts where he was like, hey, can I take you to dinner? Maybe we can work something out on the Greenland thing. And he's like, post it.
Yeah, screenshot.
I mean, he's just there dominating. Anyway, Trump's not done. Clip 8.
650 billion. I mean, it's so many. One just announced 10 billion. Toyota. Met Mr. Toyota in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
So what's your name? Toyota. I said, oh, do you own the car company? Yes, 92%. I said, you didn't have to be that specific. I said, you're rich. Yes, I'm rich. But he just announced he's going to do $10 billion worth of plans. I mean, it's amazing what's going on. Look, it's amazing. We've never had anything like it.
I mean, he's great as president, but he has to be the best person to hang out with, dude. If you could just have that.
Doing the Asian dialect while he's explaining Mr. Toyota.
I love that he made fun of him for specifying he owns 92%.
You don't have to be that specific.
All right.
Hi, Rich. I mean, you can't get enough of it. I mean, that's just like the tip of the iceberg. There's an awful lot more on that, but we'd have to have like 17 shows to get to all of it. Bessent, I thought, did typically the best job at laying out a whole range of issues in international economics and how it relates to our domestic policy and how we're dealing with trade partners. Clip 9.
And just to be clear, that we have Europe buying Russian oil still 4 years later, they are financing the war against themselves.
Yep, that's it.
So, I mean, you could have listened to that whole thing with Maria Bartiromo, and it was just like lesson after lesson after lesson. But this is a point I think, Duncan, you made, is that we don't talk about this enough.
We don't. And it's something that you learn in campaigns. You know, the 10th time you say something is the first time somebody's heard it. Mm-hmm. And it can be annoying to have to repeat yourself that much. But, like, we do not talk enough about this. Like, we go to, oh, well, whose feelings did Donald Trump hurt in Europe? And it's like, these idiots are still buying Russian oil.
Right.
When he went there years ago and was like, you're going to be relying on this, they all laughed in his face.
Right.
So, like, why do we have to care about their fucking feelings?
That's
These people are idiots.
Dude, that's the thing is, like, last time when Trump's first term, he went to Davos and he was like, You idiots realize that all of this hippie bullshit environmentalism you're doing is just making your countries completely reliant on Russian oil.
On people you say are your enemies.
Yeah, and they were all like laughing. They're like, "Oh yeah, you don't understand science." And then Joe Biden gets into office, and then Russia invades Ukraine, and they're like, "Oh shit, we're all addicted to Russian oil. Guess we can't do anything about that."
Mm-hmm. So Besson simply reminds them that they financed the war against themselves. They care deeply about Ukraine. And the only reason that that's going on is because their countries were entirely reliant on Russian oil and financing the kind of thing. Like, you need to repeat these things. People miss the forest through the trees. But he did a nice job on that. I also thought he did a real nice job on Gavin Newsom. Let's get to that clip.
I think it's very, very ironic that, Governor Newsom, who strikes me as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken, may be the only Californian who knows less about economics than Kamala Harris.
Oh, my God.
He's here this week with his billionaire sugar daddy, Alex Soros. And
get his ass.
Davos is a perfect place for a man who, when everyone else was on lockdown, when he was having people arrested for going to church, he was having $1,000 a night meals at the French Laundry. And I'm sure the California people won't forget that. And I can tell my message to Governor Newsom is the Trump administration is coming to California. We are going to crack down on waste, fraud, and abuse. And I was told he was asked to give a speech on his signature policies, but he's not speaking. Because what have his economic policies brought? Outward migration from California, a gigantic budget deficit, the largest homeless population in America, and the poor folks in the Palisades who had their homes burned down. He is here hobnobbing with the global elite while his California citizens are still homeless. Shame on him. He is too smug, too self-absorbed, and too economically illiterate to know anything.
Oh, boom. Thank you very much.
Let me know if you need any further clarification.
Dude, that was legendary.
To drop off the top of your head? Because that's not a speech.
No,
that
he's
was
just
an
doing
answer
it.
to a question.
You know Patrick Bateman hurt, but like then calling him also Sparkle Beach Ken. God, roast his ass.
It was like a Billy Madison.
Yeah.
We're all dumber now.
Yeah.
I mean, what a wild takedown.
That's impressive.
But perfect on all accounts.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly what he is. That's the argument against Gavin Newsom. He distilled it down, what was it, 45 seconds?
Just nailed him.
That's it. That's it. I think we're going to catch up with him next week.
Wow.
We've been waiting to do this for a while, and Bassent's one of our favorite, not only because he understands all of this stuff, but his way of articulating. The guy takes no prisoners.
None.
Literally.
He has no
either.
time for it.
And he kicks the shit out of people if they're not like physically.
He will. He will if need be. And they know it.
And they know it. All right. So listen, it's Thursday. And when it's Thursday, we always like to play our signature game here on the Ruthless Variety program, King of the Hill, a game that I have been dominating to a point where it's almost humiliating to all of my competitors at this point. I have Steve Schmidt again, the reigning champion, for what seems like
I think,
an
what
eternity.
is this, week 5?
It's been a lot.
We used to have a rule on the books, 3 weeks, and then you got to retire the champ. So,
I mean,
that's
he's gonna
something to
keep going.
revisit.
Yeah, maybe. You can
Who's
make
the
a
challenger?
motion.
No, it feels rigged. But anyway,
But anyway.
I'm bringing in Rick Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the judge is Ashbrook,
That's
and
me.
I am your bailiff. I'm going to run a tight court.
Oh, as
Good.
always.
Let's go ringside.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. It's time for King of the Hill. In the red corner, fighting formally from the Daily Beast, Rick Wilson. And now,
Here we are.
in the blue corner, fighting from his back porch in Utah, and current champion of the world, the old fat man, Steve Schmidt.
That's the most brutal nickname of all, dude.
It really is.
Not just the words, but the way he just rolls it. I think he serves that up the hardest.
It is. Humiliating.
The old fat man. Just
Well, he deserves an extra panache after the heater that he's been on, frankly. I'm going to start with Exhibit 4, if you don't mind. Americans are fed up with what's happening on our streets. That's why the Warning Fuck Ice collection has been so popular. Now, in addition to the hats and tees, you can get lawn signs, mugs, and beer pints and tote bags. Check out the full collection here and a link to a bunch of merch that says Fuck Ice.
Wow.
This is one of the gentlemen who has been most successful at monetizing partisanship over the last 20 years. He doesn't fake it. It's like, hey, I understand you're angry about something. Now I believe in that too, and I'm going to sell you some merch.
I mean, the thing, like, if there's a way to get a dime out of it, this guy is willing to lower himself to. I remember when he was selling like PS5s.
Yes.
And people are like, "What are you doing here,
dude?
Just finding a way to make a buck."
For a lib, he's got quite a capitalist spirit,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, challenger.
I'd like to do exhibit number 16, please. This is Rick Wilson's laundry list here. This is from his Friday brief. I assume that's some sort of newsletter thing he does on Substack. Yeah. The name of the URL is againstallenemies.net. I guess maybe he couldn't maybe afford the
didn't
.com.
Spring for the com.
Yeah. Which is just
That's
a little
good color.
added
That's
color
good
here.
color.
But here's the list in his Friday brief. Inside. Trump isn't kidding about canceling elections. The fresh hell that awaits. The Nazification of D.C.
Nazification.
This is my favorite part. We can be heroes.
Just throw that in there.
Venezuela and big oil. I thought we settled the Syrian war. Agetic AI and China. China won the trade war. The Nobel goes to Profiles in Degeneracy, Iran, and Starlink.
Amazing.
A lot of topics in his brief.
That is a lot. That's
and it's also interesting. This matchup is both Lincoln Project alumni.
Yeah.
Going head to head.
I just think my favorite part in this, other than the URL being .net, which is very funny. I mean, like, you've only been in this grift for a fucking decade. You'd think you could figure out the domain you're going to use and maybe buy the .com. But the other part is the hard pivot from the Nazification of DC to we can be heroes.
That is funny.
But lighten it up halfway.
Yeah, you sold that very, very well.
Thank you.
And the .net is a nice flourish that only you could point out and deliver exquisitely as you did. However,
oh, come on.
First round goes to Steve
that's
Schmidt.
That's just insane. You can't win in this rigged court.
Wow. Simply because
fucking ridiculous.
How dare you?
He's selling.
How
he is
dare
selling
you?
Stemware that says "fuck ice."
He's been selling shit for 10 years. This is warmed over crap.
I sympathize. We have to move on.
Unbelievable.
Round 2 starts.
All right,
with the
I play
challenger.
nothing. I play nothing because I can't win. That's just ridiculous. I hope everybody who's on X, I want you to send a message to John Ashbrook tomorrow about how crooked his court is.
That was a weak take that was overwhelmed by stemware.
We'll need some order in this court, please.
I don't care. This whole court's out of order.
That's just outrageous.
Okay, exhibit number 9. I don't care. I'll pick whatever. Trump's new gigantic temper tantrum over Norway is deep into 25th Amendment territory. Hell, at this point, 25th Amendment is far in the rearview mirror, and we are descending further into madness by the moment. So we're beyond removing the president from office.
This is always the most ridiculous coming from libs. After we went through 4 years of Joe Biden, and at the end, they couldn't hide it anymore to the point that he had to just drop out. And now they're trying to be like Trump, the guy who's just like dropping these like banger speeches off the top of his head in press conferences. Needs to be 25th Amendment. It's incredible. The brazenness.
The brazenness. You ready?
Another merch drop?
Exhibit 3. Ford employee
TJ
Swalwell was suspended earlier this week for calling Trump a pedophile protector. The vile, no-class president responded with a fuck you and a middle finger. Remind him and his MAGA minions of exactly who he is with these items. And it's a mug, a T-shirt, another T-shirt, pedophile protector, right there with these items. Just with these items. Oh, more items.
Well, I can overlook an outburst, but I cannot overlook a one-sided game like that.
Incredible.
Steve Schmidt wins round 2.
Ridiculously rigged.
All right,
just ridiculously rigged. I know he's the first one to come up with selling merch, guys. He wins.
Do you want to know what my third play was?
More merch?
Yeah. This is Exhibit 2.
Oh,
the
man.
majority of Americans oppose taking over Greenland, with an even greater opposition to taking it over by military force. Make your opinions known with this just launched Leave Greenland Alone merch.
Incredible. This guy's just like... Okay, so that's...
Anything you can talk about in the course of a week, he's slapped on the side of stemware.
Well, I can understand it winning one round.
Yeah.
You know, but like
and
at
here's
some
the thing
point
is,
it's warmed over.
I think that's like 6 weeks now for Schmidt.
Yeah.
I'm going to be judged next week. I'm going to make sure the court is fully aware going into it. He's retired.
Yeah, and Ashbrook can't be judge ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Wait,
That's
what?
also
That
probably
is outrageous.
You've had 3 times. We've had it as a rule.
I am not
we let it slide
allowing
a couple times.
the collusion.
No, 3 times too. Like that's a bit much.
I'm just
And
simply not
I'm
standing
judged
for
next
this.
week, and if anyone brings Steve Schmidt, I'm going to rule against him every time.
You have heard
I think our audience deserves better.
You've heard it here directly.
No
Ruthless
laziness.
listeners.
We should always bring our A game.
What the
Like our
incoming
promise
judge
to our audience has always been: we bring our best
And integrity.
We're not going to integrity,
Integrity.
and we're not going to be lazy with more Steve Schmidt.
This judge has prejudged.
That's right.
By disqualifying a reigning champion before he's ever even allowed to submit a single submission.
And if anyone brings Steve Schmidt next week, I'm going to just call it the second they say Steve Schmidt every round. So.
Thank you for the courage to disassemble this kangaroo court.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to appeal it. I will tell you, I'm going to appeal it right off the top.
To what judge?
That's right. The Supreme Court sitting at the end of the table.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for another victory here on King of the Hill. We've got to get to a great interview. This is our Secretary of Agriculture, lovely lady who's doing a hell of a job, Brooke Rollins. Very excited about this interview. We've been waiting to talk to her for a long time because she's doing an awful lot of great work on behalf of America's farmers, on behalf of really all Americans, if you think about her line of work. The Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, how are you?
Oh, I'm so good. It's so great to be here. Thank you. A big fan of the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Big fan. So it's an honor to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you. I mean, listen, it turns out, as we were talking before we started taping here, these roles are pretty all-encompassing.
Yeah.
And this president in particular has you doing a lot of stuff. You're doing everything from rearranging how Americans see the value of what they put in their bodies on a day-to-day basis to making sure our farmers are taken care of and that we continue to lead the world in food production. And that's really a national security issue as well as a domestic issue. I mean,
that's right.
All these things.
That's
so,
right.
You know, a year in, give us a year in review. How you feeling?
Yeah, listen, I just could not be more proud of our president and the opportunity, really the aperture that I think he opened for all of us in the cabinet and what we had been working toward and thinking about and how we execute on saving the country. I mean, that's really the big picture, what we do to take it back to our founding fathers' vision of self-governance. And I was not expecting to be the Secretary of Agriculture. I very happily was, building and running a policy think tank based on America First policies and had been working alongside the president, though, for a number of years, including in the first term.
Job.
So, but we had been really preparing for the moment, whether it was with President Trump or a future White House, where for the first time we would be ready as conservatives to govern, right? The left is really good at government. The right is really good at building business and philanthropies and raising families and building churches. And so from my perspective, the opportunity to prepare and be ready. And we got that opportunity. Now, to your question, did I ever see myself as Secretary of Agriculture as part of that opportunity? I did not, but sometimes God and Donald Trump have other plans for you than you have for yourself. But 1 year in, what an honor, what a blessing. My whole background was rural America, but for years I had sort of run bigger policy operations. From my perspective, 24 new trade deals, opening up the markets around the world, realigning the American farmer and producer and putting them first in world negotiations and working to solve so much of what Joe Biden had really screwed up. Cost of inputs, bringing those down, inflation, all of the above. From my perspective, we have to preserve rural America, the American farmer. We have to be able to feed ourselves. We have to get healthy again. And at the center of all of that is our farmer. Having said that, the bigger picture in terms of saving the country and 1 year in and what that looks like, from my perspective, 2025 will go down as one of the most consequential years in American history for all of the decisions that were made and the things that were done on the world stage, at the border, with prices, reviving the American dream. But 2026, I believe, will go down in the history books as the year all of that was effectuated, where the American dream really, really began to thrive again, and especially for those at the margins
because people can see the work product.
Exactly. Tax cuts into effect. Costs really coming down across the board. I mean, all of the above, deporting all of those who should not be here so we can really focus on our own country, housing becoming affordable again. All of that we're going to now begin to see in 2026.
Yeah, because it's a tricky job in a lot of ways, and we're the breadbasket of the world in a lot of ways. And our farmers not only provide us a safe quality, best quality in the world, affordable food for all of us, but to much of the world as well. And so when you start talking about global trade, there's a lot of people in your constituency that you oversee, they start to get nervous about. We start
Yeah.
talking about tariffs. President's got a grander vision of trying to get a better deal for all kinds of different industries across this country, and that includes getting into a negotiation. And immediately, I know in your neck of the woods, we all come from farm country.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a little nervous about that,
Yeah,
right? Because we
that's
export
right.
food better than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And your job, as best I can tell, has been talking to all those folks to ensure that we balance this all right. And it appears to me all of the sort of whistleblowing and concern and anger at the outset that was sort of amplified by Democrats around Washington, D.C., you guys have kind of had a finger on and been able to deal with all of this ahead of whatever sort of market condition that people are feeling.
Yeah, I think that's so well said, and the reason is this: the president has never shied away from his use of tariffs. He's been writing books about this for 30 or 40 years. But when we had what we called Liberation Day, and I may have talked to y'all, you guys may have been there that day, where the president,
Smash with us.
Mm-hmm. Where the president announced to the world that instead of one country or two countries, he was completely resetting the entire world economy.
Yeah,
Who's got the guts to do this?
totally.
Only Donald
But
Trump.
I got to imagine you got a few phone calls on Liberation Day.
You can Liberation Day. Liberation Day may have been Blow Brooks' phone up day. Looking back now, because it's true, and there were so many that said this is an absolute disaster,
Yeah.
and we're going to make worse what Joe Biden really blew up. We had a trade surplus leaving Trump won. We came back 4 years later to a $50 billion agriculture trade deficit, ag bankruptcies at an all-time high, cost of inputs up 40%. It was just one thing after another. But, for me, and just talking, a lot of people say, oh, we've never seen an ag secretary on TV so much. And it's not that I love to do that, but what I decided to do is I've got to talk to the American people and help explain why this is so important.
Right.
Up until Liberation Day, the average tariff put on an American good leaving America was about 15%. The average good coming into America that was tariffed was about 5%.
Mm-hmm.
So this innately wrong, unfair system that had been imposed on America, Donald Trump said no more, and he understands that we have to move at warp speed because 4 years is not a lot of time. So instead of negotiating with China for a couple months, and then we finish that one, and then we go over here and we negotiate with Bangladesh, and then we go talk to Indonesia, and then we call Japan. He's like, we're going to do it all at one time.
Yeah.
And that's what he did, and it worked. You see the deficit coming down. You see we had a 36% increase in corn from my Midwestern guys here in exports over the last year. Dairy went up 23% export. It's working. And so we just got to continue it.
Yeah.
We're changing everything.
Speaking of dairy, I hear we're bringing back whole milk.
I mean, honestly, I should have brought milk for everyone. How great for us to all be drinking milk.
I mean, Hollywood Hen, who just outside that door, I think has like a 15-gallon jug. of whole milk on
Seriously,
her desk.
whole milk is back. And to think about what the Obamas did, well, a lot of what the Obamas did, not good. But I think one of the worst things they did was Michelle Obama's war on saturated fat, on healthy fat, whether it's red meat or whole milk or butter or cheese. I mean, all us farm state kids love all of this, but taking whole milk out of schools about 13 years ago, taking real food off of plates and putting processed packaged food instead that was low fat to battle obesity has actually done exactly the opposite. We are the most unhealthy country in the world right now, and that's because of what we eat. 40 cents of every taxpayer dollar. Think about that. 40% taxpayer dollars go to health care in this country, mostly Medicaid, et cetera. So we're changing that. Bobby Kennedy, my big partner in all this, the new dietary guidelines, eat real food, get whole milk back in schools, and let's get our country healthy again.
Well, I know Smash was disappointed he had to take margarine out of his refrigerator.
No, he loves margarine.
Well, it's a guilty pleasure. You're not
Butter
supposed
is
to do
better.
it. But
Butter is better.
I don't disagree. But
Yeah.
every once in a while,
He likes the spread.
He likes the
That's
spread.
how my grandmother
He likes
made
the
chocolate
spread.
chip cookies. cookie. So, old habits die hard. I know
I get it.
You've worked an awful lot on health and on farmers. I know you're also focused on reducing fraud, and there's been so much of it. Obviously, we've talked extensively about Minnesota and everything going on there, but I'm just wondering if you could just walk us through sort of the steps you're taking to investigate fraud and to just beat it out.
Because you manage a lot of these programs.
Oh, SNAP, the food stamp program, is USDA. It's the biggest part of our budget. It's arguably one of the most fraud rife, it's not even the right term, it's the most rife with fraud of, and this is saying a lot, of arguably any program in the country. We have 44 million people who take food stamps. It's a whole other conversation about whether you should have that many. It was only 17 million a decade or so ago. Yeah. Under Joe Biden, he increased the program 40%, the SNAP program, in 4 years. Of course, they're trying to buy the election, right? We know this game. This is what they're working to do. The first hour, I got sworn in February 13th, walked into my office, drafted a letter, signed a letter that night, sent it to every governor in America. Oh, yeah, there's no rest for the weary when you're saving the country. Sent it to every governor, Republican and Democrat, and said, we are going to fix this program. The days of just sending taxpayer dollars out and not asking for accountability are over. Within at least a few weeks, every Republican governor in the country said, yes, please help us. We got all of their data. Every blue governor in the country, other than North Carolina, to give him some props, every blue governor said, no, thank you, and kind of flipped us off and then sued us. And so we're in massive litigation with those blue states. Here's what's really shocking, to answer your question. The red states that send us their data, and these are states where the programs are much smaller, there is more accountability, they're not trying to put everybody on the programs, they're trying to keep people off the programs if they don't need it. Right. And within those red states data, we found 200,000 dead people getting the program benefit. We found 500,000 getting twice. So they would get it once and then they reapply and get it again. This is in the red states. Wow. I have about 100 people going through criminal investigation right now. So we are working on it. It is, I believe, one of the unintended consequences, silver linings of the government shutdown, that SNAP became the negotiating tool. So y'all probably remember this. So I was constantly, the Democrats are, they hate poor people. Like, you're the one that's holding them all hostage with this. But it shined a light on this program, and the average American, Republican or Democrat, there are Democrats out there who don't want their taxpayer dollars wasted either.
Well, the stats were unbelievable. They started saying, well, there are tens of millions of people that rely on it. It's like, wait.
Shocking.
Well, and you'd think that the people who say that they care about the poor people would want to make sure that money goes to poor people and not fraud.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's not the game. The game is to get as much money into voters' hands, legal and illegal, and work to, again, protect your fiefdom. And that's their goal. It's not about the poor. It's not about serving those who need it the most. It's not about having programs that work for those as we're trying to get them back onto their feet and they can go get a good job and live the American dream, which we proved out in Trump 1 is possible. And so that's what we're fighting. And for your Minnesota, I have deep Minnesota roots too. I do believe, as bad as it is, it's only the tip of the iceberg. When we get into California,
I agree.
When we get into Illinois, when we get into New York, I think what we're going to discover is going to be mind blowing.
Can I ask you? Look, you've been studying this stuff for a long time, long before you had this role. Is it dispiriting at all to get to the point where you can come to the rightful conclusion? And I agree, it's the rightful conclusion that there is a party in America that is representing fraud as a electoral opportunity. Because it took me when I started in this line of work, it was
hard to believe
different
that's
ways
even
at
true.
getting at the same goal.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They were like, we grow government because that's what we're like, well, that's not going to work. Here's a better way of doing it. But that was the argument. And then, you get to 2025 and 2026 and you look at it and it's like, no, there's no other conclusion to come to.
I know.
There is a party that has literally decided the best way for us to remain electorally viable is to commit rampant fraud to the point where we're paying people.
Yeah, it's true. For me, there are moments of like, oh, how did we get to this spot? But then I decided, well, I've got to double down. Because if I don't, and if good people don't, then we really are done. For me, and I grew up in Texas, a huge state policy person, the 10th Amendment for me, let the states, that's where the power should be, get it out of the federal government. And so in Texas, I saw a little bit of it, but where I really woke up to it was in the election fraud of 2020 with the president, when these blue states not only weren't willing to purge their voter rolls of dead and illegal people, but they wouldn't even agree to a voter ID.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is this the superpower, not just in today's world, but in all of world history, where we can go to the other side of the world, put our ATM card in an ATM machine in a third world country, get cash back that we trust for the most part. We're in a country where we don't even know who's voting for our leadership, and they won't even try to fix it. They'll double down on it. That's when I realized that the intentions of most of the left are so nefarious and so dark. It's just so dark that is this moment we're living in right now. And that is why Donald Trump is such an important game changer and historical figure.
Yeah, I mean, as the great statesman Bill Engvall would say, there's your sign.
There's your sign.
There's your sign.
No, I mean,
it's true.
It's stunning how they just keep doubling and tripling down on this in all the states. And it's just, I mean, I cannot wait to see what you uncover. California, New York, Illinois, some of these states where it's worse than anybody's worst nightmare.
Going back to your dietary guidelines for a second, here's the thing that I love what you and Bobby rolled out is it inverted the whole thing.
We just flipped the whole thing upside down.
And it's based on scientific fact, and this is the deal. But then you start to sort of deconstruct how we got there in the first place, where it was, and you understand there's all these interests that have sort of controlled all of these components of it. And the perfect component, and this is not a health food by any stretch of the imagination, but I saw a report last week by Jamie Comer. Good farm guy, right?
Yeah.
But an oversight committee guy who was talking about how the Biden administration wanted to insert into their dietary guidelines guidance about alcohol use. And they put 6 basically prohibitionists from Canada on a oversight committee to then make a recommendation that basically eliminated alcohol from the United States of America based on science that didn't exist. And he asked for the science that didn't provide it. And for me, it was such a perfect encapsulation. Obviously, we like bourbon around here, so we take a special interest in that kind of thing. But it got me thinking about milk and grains and food and cheese, all these different components. That's probably, again, the tip of the iceberg in terms of how these people have made decisions about what goes into your body or what the government recommends anyway.
And to go even a step further, and this is why, again, love him or not, some days, there are a lot of people who question the president's approach and his decision making. But what I would say is one of the single most important things he has done and represented in his leadership and our administration is we're not beholden to anyone but the American people. Yeah. That's all we care about is serving the American people. And that is such a fundamental difference. The way our electoral and election system is set up, you've got to raise money to run the elections. And in the first term, I was domestic policy, so I did a little bit of everything. And I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but when we started talking about bringing drug prices down in the first term, and you can't imagine the Republicans, the conservative think tanks that would call me and say, but the pharmaceutical company is the single largest donor to the Republican Party, and in a panic because a lot of big corporations support the other side, which is also crazy. But it was almost, and we weren't hamstrung in the first term, but we're even less. We don't even have those conversations in the second term. Where is this corporation? How much money did they give to these people? What does that look like? No one cares. Yeah. We just have to do what's best. And in agriculture, you think about the consolidation of the industry.
Yeah, for sure.
You think about how a lot of foreign countries have come in and bought some of our major food suppliers, processors, et cetera. Yeah. You think about the SNAP program, where the number one purchase of SNAP dollars was soda and junk food. Yeah. And why is that? Yeah. It's because in another day, at another time, across both parties, there was a lot of,
look the other way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we don't do that We just do what's best. I don't go to parties. I don't do the lobby, events. I rarely show up at anything outside of, this kind of stuff, because I am here to serve the American farmer and the American people,
I
period,
love it.
full stop.
Well, the takeaway from the alcohol thing that Oz was telling us, just don't have it for breakfast.
No.
Which I felt like was a fair recommendation.
It's a social lubricant. Just don't drink it for breakfast. You're good. We're all making America healthy. Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation.
Before we let you go, I have 3 questions that we ask.
Perfect.
Everyone. The first is, and this is particularly apropos of our agriculture secretary, if you could plan your last meal on Earth, what would it be? You don't have to worry about tomorrow here.
That's true. It's the last meal on Earth.
Yep.
Okay. First, it would have to be a really beautiful piece of steak from an American. We have the best steaks in the world. This is actually proven.
No
the best
question.
genetics, the best steaks. So that has to be part of it.
Yeah.
And then right next to it would be some beautiful kind of vegetable that some of our great farmers, but I mean, we have the best vegetables too. I am a meat and potatoes girl.
There you go.
Right? I mean,
You're
I am.
speaking to the right crew.
I
on
know.
this.
You all are my people.
Potatoes, I was going to object.
We got to have potatoes. We got to have a really nice big baked potato with the new dietary, with cheese and real butter and all the great things. I saw something that said, I hope your husband is appreciative that you're not a size 0, but you can help move a couch. That would be me. That would be me. I am very strong and I can move a couch. Yes. Thanks to my steak and potatoes. And I actually mean this, an actual glass of whole. I have been drinking, there's a picture of me out there with a glass of whole milk that looks like it's staged. That's what I drink at 1 or 2 meals a day and have forever.
I just assumed it was a White Russian. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Yes, that would have
Although
been,
I do love White Russians.
Yeah, White Russians are quite tasty.
Maybe dessert.
And then for dessert would have to be some ice cream. That sounds pretty tasty to
That's
me.
good.
Yeah, chocolate chip ice cream.
Great meal. All right.
But I do love a good pepperoni pizza too.
I know.
It's
Maybe
so
just
good.
like an app.
That
just a
would be
bite
the
or two of the
appetizer.
app.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I'm in.
Something thin crust so you can leave
Yes.
room.
Leave a little room.
Yes, exactly.
So second question. Listen, you've been incredibly successful. Obviously, you are where you are. But with the benefit of retrospect, having seen and gone and experienced all of your career and everything there is, there's always like a couple of things that you think back, like if I had another life to live, would I have done something entirely different? And what is it that's like I'm super excited about that I just, obviously at this point in my life, I'm not going to have the chance to do.
Oh, maybe.
But with the benefit of retrospect, what
I would
that
have been a professional barrel racer.
Wow.
And in fact, I told Mark Rollins, my husband, that when I'm finished with this, I'll be 56 or 57, a couple years, and I'm going to start barrel racing again. So,
really? Oh, that's
yes.
incredible.
So it may not be completely out of the question. This is a very true story. Wow. Of course, he rolls his eyes and says, "That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard."
We're going to sponsor the
in
barrel.
my
I feel
life."
like we should
Yes,
sponsor the team.
y'all could be the first sponsor. I'm like, by the age of 60, my goal is to be at the National Finals Rodeo as a contestant, as a barrel. I grew up barrel racing.
That's
I hadn't done it
amazing.
in so long. Yes, and I feel like I could still. I mean, sturdy. I still got it, y'all.
See,
I
that's a
still
great
got it.
answer.
Yes,
That's a really great answer.
and I mean it from the bottom of my soul too.
That's so
exactly
good.
what I would have done.
All right, so third and final question. Our view is that almost every successful person is motivated, even if they don't want to admit it, by one of two things. It's either the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat. And it's not that anybody doesn't like to win or anybody enjoys losing. Everybody has the same impact on them, but it's what motivates you to keep going, right?
For me, that's easy. That's the thrill of victory.
You're a thrill of victory gal, and it's about a
Absolutely.
50-50 split.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Is it really?
It's a 50-50
It's funny.
split.
Something I have always called myself a pathological optimist.
Yeah.
Literally pathological. Like
Okay.
I remember walking out of the White House, what I thought was the last time ever, the night before Joe Biden was inaugurated at midnight, thinking Biden's going to be here in 12 hours. Everyone else, the world is ending, and arguably they weren't wrong.
Yeah, right.
And for me, I walked out of the White House and I said, "Thank you, God, for this opportunity. This is the end of the beginning of America First, the end of the
Yeah,
beginning."
and you went to work.
and now it's time to go to work.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. So yeah, definitely the victory.
I love it.
I can see it.
I love it. We were due for an optimist, by the way.
Yeah. Were you?
Yeah, we've been over-indexing on the other side here lately.
Well, there you go. Anytime you need that, call me.
Yeah,
Probably I'm very annoying, but it's true. Yeah, it's true. It's completely true.
Well, listen, she is our incredibly charming and enormously effective Secretary of Agriculture.
Oh, here it is.
And she's going to toss her Ruthless cap on. Oh, look at this.
We're going to finish up.
Yeah, look at that.
It's National Signing Day.
Yeah,
it is.
National Signing Day.
Yes. Hopefully the Aggies have a better. We got a whole football thing going. But yes, I'm in.
We'll get the whole fall, and we'll start ballparking things out. You come back in.
Yes, and I'm signed now with the Ruthless team. Yes, I'm in.
Talk football next fall.
I would love that.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Brooke Rollins, everybody.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, y'all for having me. How much fun.
I mean, what a delight. You know, she is so smart. She has so much to offer. And I mean, I didn't know she was as funny as we saw here on the show.
Great sense of humor. On and off camera, great sense of humor.
Yeah.
Busting wolf's balls a little bit.
Yeah, so good.
Gotta love that.
Good. I guess that's what you get with a gal from Texas.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, she's doing a whale of a job at the Department of Agriculture, and we should all be thankful for it because, for real, there's a lot of stuff in there that deeply affects all of you, whether you know it or not. Everything from your groceries to America's farmers and how we ended, sort of lead the world, the breadbasket, as it was. Anyway, listen, don't forget about this Philly event. This Philly event is a big deal. It's our first live show in an awful long time. It is going to be on January 29th. The doors open at 6 p.m. When you go to a250philly.com/ruthless, you can get your ticket. Doesn't cost you a darned thing. They'll give you the venue location. Remember, food and beverages included in all that.
Good time.
Michael Duncan will bring spackling. He will repair that crack in the Liberty Bell.
I'm going to do it.
I was thinking like a welder's visor.
Yeah, going to have to bring in the hard equipment.
Yeah, I mean, if you want it to stay.
Well, safety first.
We got to fix it for another $250. So we'll get it done. Thank you for all of that, Duncan. Remember our question of the day when you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Variety program. We read all of your responses. And today's question is, what's the best way to help voters understand that there is no such thing as a moderate Democrat? Eager to hear your answers on that. We will get back to you on Fun Time Friday, which we're going to have a very fun time on, by the way. I've seen some material that we're saving up.
It's been good stuff.
It's going to be a comedic blast. You guys will love every second of that. With that, fellas, I think we did it.
I think so. Absolute banger of an episode. Gentlemen, thank you so much, Tom Homan, and thank you so much, Secretary Rollins, and thank you to the listeners. Remember, if you have not yet, go to the YouTube and hit that subscribe because it's more fun in video. So until next time, minions, keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs. We'll see you Friday. Stay ruthless.